Welcome back to episode number 48 of Travel Talk. Today's episode is going to be covering leaving Sydney and beginning my journey up the east coast, which probably the next 10 episodes or so will be about that. It'll be obviously leaving there today in this episode, travelling up on a small kind of people bus sort of thing, which there was only 10 of us on, doing 4 days of different things with those people, then heading to Byron Bay for a week, and then doing Surfers Paradise for 3 or 4 days, I think it was in the end, and then eventually hitting Brisbane. So yeah, like I said, the next 10 episodes or so will be about that, but we'll kick off today's episode. And so yeah, like I say, I was leaving Sydney. Been there for about a week and a half. It's the first place I've been to in Australia, obviously. Landed there from Fiji, so that was really cool, but Sydney really wasn't my cup of tea, so I was quite happy to leave. So the day that I was leaving, I got up about 6:30, went and got showered, dressed, packed, headed down to the lobby, checked out, was sat in the lobby from about 7:30 onwards waiting for the little bus to turn up. The bus driver was called Nick. Like I said, it was only, I think in the end, actually there was only 7 of us on the bus, and then 8 if you include Nick the driver. So he grabbed me out of the reception, put the bags in the back, and I jumped on the bus. Like I said, there was 7 of us. There was Hank from Taiwan, which is a good Taiwanese name obviously, Anna from Canada, Nanda from Holland, Tina from Denmark, Lawrence, Maisie and me were all from England, and obviously Nick makes 8. So that was all good. Along the beginning of the journey, we were introduced to Australian rap music, which is, in Australian terms, heaps good. Not too sure about Australian rap music, but you know, it's an experience, obviously. So yeah, our bus ride, it set off, and our first stop was a place called Twist Tops Retreat in Barrington National Park, which was about 8 hours drive east of Sydney. Not east of Sydney, up the east coast from Sydney, sorry. It was kind of like a cabin retreat, and it offered like tubing, pizza making, and there was lots of alcohol and such as well. After quite a long drive, obviously we arrived at Twist Tops about 4 o'clock. Got a brief tour from Will, who was the owner. Half the group grabbed wetsuits and helmets, and we were all going down to go tubing, and the other lot didn't go. So I think myself, Hank, Lawrence, Nanda, Maisie and Nick all went tubing, and the rest just kind of stayed and didn't. They stayed back in the bar and such. So, but yeah, we drove down to the river, which was about a 5-minute drive away from this cabin that we were staying in, and all grabbed our rubber rings out the back, jumped in the water basically. It was pretty cold, but you know, it was a good deterrent from falling in. You know, you didn't really want to get too cold. And yeah, no, tubing was fun. It was something I hadn't actually done before, in all honesty. So yeah, it made a nice change. I really enjoyed doing that. Managed to avoid hitting any rocks or spiders in trees, which was always a positive. And but yeah, a really good experience. Really enjoyed it. So I was quite happy with that. Headed back up to the cabin, dried off. They had a little jacuzzi thing on the side as well, so we jumped in that to dry off a little bit, warm up as well. So. But while we were gone, the people that stayed back had made pizzas, so that was going to be the dinner. And yeah, we just chilled out for the rest of the night, had some drinks, and yeah, it was a really chilled night, which was really cool. It was nice to meet new people, obviously from all different countries and such. And yeah, it was just a really good evening. We all headed to bed, I think about 1 in the end, because we had to be up at 8 the next day, ready to have some breakfast, had a cup of tea, which I think it was the first cup of tea I'd had in like 2.5 months since I left England, so it was good. It was good. Because the thing is Will was the bloke who owned it, but the 2 girls at work, they were both English, so they had like proper tea bags and everything. It was the best thing in the world. But yeah, packed our bags, headed back onto the bus. It was a shame to only stay there one night, because it was a really nice place and they were really welcoming people, but unfortunately had to keep going on with the journey. And jumped back on the bus, like I say, and headed towards our next place that we'd be staying, which was Spot X, which is a surf camp just outside Arawara. It's about 300 kilometres south of Brisbane, but yeah, we were going to head there next. Before getting there, we did stop off at a Coles supermarket to buy ourselves some lunch, and also Nick, who was our bus driver, was also going to be cooking for us while we were at surf camp, so he bought lots of different food for us to have while we were there. Which is all good. Also bought some alcohol because you had to bring your own stuff. That was fair enough. We brought that with us, and it was all good. And yeah, stopped off there for the next. I think we stayed there for 3 nights in the end, 2 nights in the end, 2 or 3 nights in the end that we stayed there. I can't really remember. We'll get to that in the next episode, obviously, because I've written it down somewhere. But yeah, we stayed there. Really, really interesting. What we did is we went there, dropped all our bags off, but then jumped back on the bus again and headed out for a little while. We went to Port Macquarie, which is a little town a little bit south of Arawara. And it's got a koala hospital. So we went to this hospital where the koalas go if they've been injured in like various scenarios, if they've been in like a road accident and such. And so yeah, that was pretty cool to see all the little koalas, like, you know, rehabbing themselves. There was one doing pull-ups, I swear. It's like, that's where he was showing off. It was like, oh, females, I will do pull-ups and I will make them like me. But yeah, we spent about half an hour walking around there, looked at the koalas and their habitats for the time being. And yeah, that was really cool. Then headed back to surf camp, and that night had some drinks with Nick and everyone else, because we were staying in teepees, which is pretty cool. Staying in like, big wigwam things. So we 4 of us to each of those. So yeah, that was really cool. Nick had one to himself, which was awesome because it meant we could do it together and have a drink. So always positive. But yeah, that was really enjoyable, and that's where I will leave this video. I know it's been slightly shorter than usual, but I don't want to. If I do the second part of this on this video as well, it'll just make it far too long. It's better to be short and sweet than go on too long. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed part 1 of my journey up the East Coast, and yeah, part 2 will be covering how I got on at surf camp, and then the journey from surf camp to Byron Bay, which will be the next stop really. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, and catch you next time. See ya.